Does the proverb "when in Rome, do as the Romans do" still applicable in modern society? Well, as a Muslim, there are 5 parts that you must do. The rest can be adjusted based on time and place, including burial. They have 3 options. 1. Buy a private land and do whatever you want there going through legal means. OFC, don't just dig a hole. Too many Muslim countries will receive the bodies and bury there, so you can do that. 3. Bury in Christian places if they allow it, since they follow similar practices. If all these options are not possible, then you are allowed to follow the way of the land. The most important part is to respect the people you are living with. Did Qatar change its traditions during World Cup? Absolutely no. They allowed no beer and made strict rules for their women. When Islamic countries do something to save their culture, people tell us to respect their beliefs/culture. But when countries like Japan or France do something to preserve their culture, you call it Islamophobia. If you are moving there, expect cultural shock. People will not bend according to you there. They are following customs since hundreds of years. They will not change it because some Mr. Abdul migrated to their country. I think that it's absurd to expect Muslims to accept something like that. For us atheists and agnostics is no big deal because we don't care about being buried or not. But imagine that all your life revolves around following a set of rules to go to heaven. Only for, after all that effort, just going to hell because you haven't been buried. Do you find that stupid and absurd? Well, it's just their beliefs and we should respect them. Try to have some empathy and imagine that situation. It's not just some preference. It's probably the most important thing on their life. How long have you been single and why? 2 years. Broke up with my last relationship because I was working in healthcare during COVID and went from 36-hour work week to 50+ and I was running around undiagnosed with ADHD. So they say I turned into an entirely different person. And honestly, knowing what I know now, just got diagnosed this year, I'd say that from the trauma I was seeing at work and the exhaustion on top of normal life stress. Yeah, I was probably a different person and I have since apologized to them for it and we're on good terms at least. So I fought for my mental health the past 2 years because I was not okay. But I am finally doing so much better, so guess things happen for a reason. I'm almost into 8 months out of my first relationship. It only lasted 7 months and it's taking a long time for me to heal completely. My ex has been on my mind every single day, thinking random things: if he's with someone new, what ifs, and things that could have prevented the breakup. Family and friends always reminds me that he's not the one for me, and yet I still think he is. I guess I just miss the good things we have and how I was treated by him before things went downhill. Almost coming up on 12 years. Got out of a 10-year marriage and had a beautiful child, but the marriage itself at the last 3 years had become incredibly suffocating. After that I vowed never to be micromanaged like that ever again. Being told when I could go out with friends, and when I did I was majorly guilted for spending time with anybody but him. Since then I've spent lots of time with other friends. Been traveling a lot. Also spend time with family and generally having fun. I do ask myself from time to time if I had the chance to go back to the way it was 15 years ago. Would I do it? The answer is always absolutely not. My ex has also found someone more suitable to his lifestyle, so I feel like it was a win-win situation. They enjoy sitting in a rocking chair? Yes, lol, that is why they exist. I love rocking chairs but prefer indoor love seat gliders. I could glide all day. Yes, especially older wooden ones. One of my adult children absolutely loves the glider chair. Never sit in anything but, even when gaming. To the point where the chair eventually will wear down and break. Wish we'd get a hold of one made of metal instead of wood. I imagine the joints would hold up longer. Yeah bro, obviously. Who doesn't lamau? Wanna start a rocking chair subreddit for people that like them too? I'll mod with you. I love it. I'm 22, okay? So, I used to party a lot. Like drink to get drunk party. Now, I enjoy sipping my whiskey and enjoying the cool southern breeze of my hometown. Sipping on whiskey and rocking in a hand-built wooden rocking chair? Pure bliss. How would you feel if you broke up with your ex and then found out you were pregnant? I would be a mess and my feelings would be all over the place. I'm not sure if I would terminate. It would mostly depend on whether or not the ex in question would be someone I could be sure would be a decent person to be in contact with in some capacity for pretty much the rest of my life. I'm afraid it would also depend on my age. If I was scared it was my only chance to ever have a child before it's too late, I could see that swaying my decision as well. Actually nearly happened to me. 6 weeks after the breakup, got what looked like a positive pregnancy test. I told him because it felt like the right thing to do and he didn't care and blamed me for it. The doctor confirmed the next day that I was negative. In those 24 hours I did decide that if I wasn't going to be keeping it because it just wasn't the right time. I was in college, or the right person, and it should be a happy thing. When the time comes I would like my friends and family to be excited. I would like to be in a relationship and maybe married. I know that I couldn't have given the life to my child that I wanted to give and wish I had growing up, and so for me a non-existent baby, it was the right thing. I'd be devastated. All hypothetical, so I'm just assuming what I would do and feel. But I believe I would feel really broken-hearted and probably quite alone initially. I know I would choose to have the baby. No question about that. Adoption versus motherhood would come down to my age and financial status and my personal readiness. If this happened today I would choose motherhood, as I have a very stable career and my fiancé and I want kids in the near future anyways. Thankfully I have a very strong family unit that I know would support me however they could when I have the baby. I'd let my ex be as involved as he'd like to be. But I would also probably move closer to family to make sure I have support in the same area.